Hi, I am Alisha Karabinus of NYMGamer, and you are watching our critical Let's Play of State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition, a Lifeline. That's a mouthful. Lifeline was the second DLC and third gameplay mode for Undead Lab's State of Decay. It was just released last year. A Lifeline takes place on a separate map from the other two modes in the city of Danforth, located northwest of Trumbull Valley, where the main story mode and breakdown takes place. So in Lifeline, you first play as Major Alisha Hawks. This is her. And you are part of a unit of soldiers in this city tasked with extracting key personnel who may be able to assist with, or at least who know about, maybe, the outbreak. Little character development here.
We're still here. We had to abandon our vehicle.
Medevac is ready to go, but right now, Greyhound 2 is busy fucking up my LZ. Get over there and secure that extraction point. We're not going to be rescuing anybody if we can't even land a damn helo.
And rescuing is exactly what we are here to do. Not only are we extracting those key individuals, scientists, etc., but we do also end up extracting a lot of civilians. You don't have to save all of them. It provides one of the ending scenarios for this game, this mode. As you saw in the corner, the threat level, something that comes up as a marker for sieges. We will start the game when we get to the landing zone, which is our base, with a miniature siege. The sieges really dominate Lifeline mode. They're the day markers for Lifeline. It doesn't work on a day-night cycle the same way that the other modes do. It's just every time there's a siege, you get a reset, you get a resupply. But these sieges really dominate your gameplay in that if you are not here when the shit hits the fan, people die. People may die if you are here, but after you start rescuing civilians, you've got people wandering around your base who are completely helpless, who absolutely depend on your protection. You will lose some of them, if not all of them, if you are not here, and the sieges get progressively harder. And we'll talk a little bit later about how that begins to affect gameplay. Right now we're going to watch Alisha kicking ass. Alisha as Alisha. I like her, obviously. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. So this is a really mild siege as sieges go. Not a big deal. Not much happens. Not very complicated. Very straightforward. Zombies come, you kill them. Later on, you'll get a lot of specials. Longer waves of zombies. It's not uncommon for you to start running out of resources on your person.
It's just the two of us now. I don't even know what happened to my comms. Everything went down so fast.
This whole mission is messed up. We dug in here like they said, but these bastards got in anyway.
This is nice because it explains why the base is in such disarray, what's happening, what's going on. One of the good things about Lifeline, I think, is that the story mode is very streamlined. I think that they had a lot of practice with the original story mode, and then with Breakdown, which has a story, but it has a lot of room for the player to fill in the gaps based on who they get, what kind of team they build, how they approach it. In Lifeline, things are very focused. You don't spend as much time scavenging and searching, though you will see it in this video, as you do in the other modes. Instead, you're very focused on the missions. And there's a lot of time spent developing this city, these people, these units, but it's never overt narrative. It never gets in the way of the game. It's very seamless. Just one of the things that I think that Undead Labs does really well, and that maybe their praises aren't sung enough for. I really think very highly of this studio.
I've seen worse.
Going back to this game, after several months. It just felt like coming home. So many of these spots, I've done this so many times. This beginning of Lifeline up until about the point where this video ends. There's a particular mission that I have failed a lot, based on random factors. And so I've done this opening many times. The helicopter, the buildings that you search. I even park in the same place when I stop at some of these every time. That's one of my favorite moves. The slow motion zombie stomp. So as our intrepid heroes run around, shoot some zombies, and search, I'd like to talk a little bit about diversity in this game. It's something that is a factor in all three modes. In this game, you have gay characters, you have many different races of people, you have a character who's a former sex worker, you have a variety of body types. I mean, I've explored this at length in my writings for Not Your Mama's Gamer. Talked about gender signifiers, talked about breakdowns of characters, body types. But in Lifeline here, just take a moment to appreciate that you start as a female soldier commanding a small unit. Your two primary sidekicks, as it were, are a man from Hawaii and a young black man. So you don't get this kind of makeup in a lot of games, where you're very suddenly placed into a world that is not, in fact, dominated by white men. It's unusual for games, and it is, however, fairly representative of the military. So that's good. It's another one of those ways in which a State of Decay is really realistic. Or they do take that time to add that extra touch of realism, especially when you start getting into the backstories of some of the soldiers, who they are, where they're from, what kinds of attitudes they have, what their life experiences brought them to. Something that doesn't get near enough attention, I think, are the little details of each character. If you look in the game under the character menu, everybody has little characteristics, their traits. They might have leadership, they might be a drunk, they might have a pack-a-day smoking habit, but all of those things can have a real impact on the game, on your team, on morale, on how people function and react to one another. And it's just one of those ways in which, again, the narrative is not very overt. It's not as controlling. You don't have just a ton of cutscenes in which story is delivered. But you do have a unit of people. People who are flawed. People who are diverse. People who may not always get along. It's really well done. My apologies if I go silent sometimes for no apparent reason. I have a cold. And this is the fourth time I've tried to record this audio for this particular video. So, that car in the background, the gold car, reminds me, one of the things that's been updated in this, besides, general graphical touches, is the cars. They have a lot of different paint jobs that they didn't have before in the original version. And one of the things I think may be the case, you'd think eventually I would have looked it up, are that those cars, I believe, are a nod to certain forum posters, those paint jobs. I could be wrong. I will say, oh, we're saving the doctor, I believe, right here. That is a nice cover. Undead Labs is really interactive in their community forum. They have a very robust community, people dedicated to this game, and the employees, community managers, and others are really involved, and they listen to their fans. They listen to the complaints that people have, and the desires and the wishes, and I think they've tried really hard to serve some of those. Of course, we still don't have a co-op mode, but we do have vehicle storage, which was not something that was in the original game. There's a juggernaut. Fans said, you know, listen, I'm driving a truck around. I've got a car with a trunk. Why is it that I can't toss my stuff in the back? It's something that they added in, which was a really nice touch. So we're going to deliver the doctor. And this is kind of the inciting incident for events in this story. This is the controlling factor. Nothing that happens after, or much of what happens after would not have happened without this moment. So when they get up here and they begin talking, we're going to stop and listen.
Where are you taking me?
Out of here. I mean, does it really matter? We're taking you to HQ. Apparently, your research is our best hope for curing this thing.
Let me spell it out. I'm infected. One of those things bit me. I'm a dead man. You're wasting your time.
I'm not here to decide who's a waste of time. I'm here to get you out.
What if I turn while we're airborne?
The mission's the thing.
Bring us all down. What good did I do then?
Hey, whoa!
My time is up. Use your helicopter to save somebody else.
Doctor, no!
Oh. I know it's coming. It happens in every game. But it never fails to be a little bit of a gut punch when he does that. This is a technical update to this game, and it's really fascinating.
You're now securing all
Every time you lose a member of your community, if you're on the Xbox One, it automatically takes a game clip. I think you can turn it off. I haven't looked because I think it's a really neat feature. It also takes some automatic clips when you survive something that you probably shouldn't have survived. But the deaths are preserved. I'm going to make a supercut of all my deaths from the review period, just so you can see how many times I failed and in what spectacular ways. It helps a little with the pain. It hurts to lose a character in this game, especially in... Breakdown is my favorite mode. Breakdown to me is just really fun. But you build a team of people who go with you level to level to level, and you get really dependent on them when you lose one. It's tough. So here are some of the things that are different about Lifeline as opposed to the other two modes. Not only is it on a different map, but I think that there's a lot of really smart design decisions that had an impact on how this particular mode came together. For instance, this map seems enormous. I mean, the original map is pretty big too. But this is a city, a whole huge sprawling city. But they don't make, I mean, it may exist. You don't see the entire city. The central parts are blocked off. They're danger zones. You can open some of it up later. But you spend most of your time on these highways that loop around those central areas of the city. So you get a real feel for the scope of Danforth and the size and the complexity of it without resources being wasted on the building of every tiny little space and street and corner. It was a very, very intelligent way, I think, to build this kind of area. You don't need all of it, so, you know, they put you on a loop instead. It does mean a lot of time spent behind the wheel. A lot of time spent running around. And not as much time, though, doing this that I'm doing right now. Scavenging, looting, if you will. Oh, pardon me. I'm probably not going to remember to go back and cut out that yawn. Again, fourth time I've recorded the audio. But you have to do a little bit of this early on and a little bit throughout, going around and looking for materials as you do in the other modes of the game. But the difference is, in Lifeline, you have to make so many other choices. Do I go and save this person or that person, or do I do this mission because you run out of time on things, people die, and if you're in the middle of something and the siege counter starts to go up, you've got to get home. You don't always have a chance to do everything, so only in these early moments when you're trying to, you know, kind of fix your base and give yourself a chance to survive it all, do you spend much time scavenging and looking around for things. There's some early missions that support that. There are a lot of things that are different about Lifeline. For instance, during this review period, I've discovered something that I didn't do a lot of on the 360, my original playthroughs, the importance of fireworks for distractions. There are a lot of different tools that you have at your disposal in this game. Alarm clocks, talking baby dolls, fireworks, things to get zombies away from you. In the original game, that's something I relied on very often. Sometimes maybe in upper levels of breakdown. But coming back to the game after a period away makes me think either I got rusty or maybe the number of zombies has been ramped up, because sometimes, man, it feels like they just keep coming and coming and coming. I keep wondering if they're maybe a little more sensitive to sound than they used to be. It's hard to say. I haven't seen any confirmation, and I assume I won't until it's actually released. But it does feel like zombies come more often. But in Lifeline, because you're the military and not just a bunch of random civilians thrown together, you have these really great weapons. People tend to have some training in shooting them. So you spend a lot more time shooting, I think, in this. And rather than fighting with melee weapons, and then also a lot of time in the car, so you run over a lot of zombies, which is my particular joy. I could run over zombies all day long. I did a lot of that in the first Dead Rising too. Just ran over hordes and hordes and hordes of zombies. Oh, the tartan mart. Alright, meeting up here with one of my soldiers for a supply mission. Gives you a little chance to see the AI at work in this game. In State of Decay, the AI it's pretty solid sometimes. Sometimes a little iffy. Like right now, Kilo only grabbed that zombie that came directly at him. Until I talk to him, he's not really activated, and he's not going to do much. And even after I talk to him, or if I have a companion or something, occasionally the AI fails, and you'll be fighting like 3 or 4 zombies, and if they don't get attacked, they might just stand there and look at you and be like, that looks hard. I'm sorry. And then at other times, they can be really good allies. Oh, there's a bloater. Oh, yeah, get out of the smoke. Bloaters, when they die, release a kind of toxin that drains your stamina. And without stamina, you're boned. You don't survive because you can't fight. I'm just kind of admiring right now this fight. That was a nice little slick motion. Alicia Hawks may be all business as the commanding officer, but she's got a little flair to her. I like her. There's an armored zombie. They're my favorite kind of specials because they're super easy. They don't even feel like they should be special zombies. I do not like juggernauts. Juggernauts scare the piss out of me. The big lumbering dudes. And they will rip you in half. It's not pretty. So, see here, I'm not doing anything special. Just fighting. And they've just kept coming and coming and coming. I even got a silenced weapon. And I just don't remember there being so many before. Maybe there were, and it's just nostalgia or distance. But whew, it just feels hard sometimes in a way that it didn't before. It makes me wonder if we're not going to see an early patch. As I said too in my my Power Hour review, there are some bugs present, so there may be an early patch. I don't think we see any of the bugs in this video. I don't remember, but I don't think so. Yeah, we need to secure a lot of things. Okay, so doing this supply run, and you have to defend the perimeter while your partner searches. See a little progress meter, it's blocked. Kilo's hungered down, cowering. But when there's zombies inside the building, there's that move again. Or within a certain range of the perimeter, they stop searching. They don't always fight, but they surely stop searching.
Just be careful. We can't lose track of anything in a scenario like this. Least of all weapons.
Yeah, you tell him, Major.
Okay, I think that's all we should carry in one trip.
These folks,
Besides at 3 o'clock.
the main characters from Breakdown, are now available. I mean, from Lifeline are now available in Breakdown. And the military weapons from Lifeline have been spread out. They're available in other modes when they weren't before. They're not particularly common, but I have noticed that the caliber of weapon I'm finding in the other modes seems slightly improved.
Do his research and might be able to make a difference. If any of them are alive, then maybe we can still salvage this thing.
Just tell us where to go.
First up is his ex-wife, Julian Horn. She's a surgeon at University.
And that's the mission that on my playthroughs I failed many times.
We think she's stranded. Get to her last known location, track her down,
And it's so early that if you fail, you just start over. But I've had a lot of bad luck with that one. As you may have noticed, I cut some of the scavenging and driving back. There, we jumped forward a little bit. And we're driving. This is the worst decision that I make in this video. Like, oh, let's swap to this sports car and I'll get there faster. Except I'm going to pick people up, and what am I going to do then with a two-seater? It was not my finest hour, as you'll see. But it's indicative of some of the decisions that you have to make. What kind of car do I take? What am I going to need it for? What am I going to be doing? Especially after they added vehicle storage. Of course, some vehicles hold more than others. So it depends on what you're doing, what kind of missions are on the table, how quickly you need to get there. I think I was focused on the fact that I was trying to do two things in a very short window of time. So it's like, oh, I'll take a sports car. But sometimes that decision, as you'll see, can end up taking you more time, not less. So here's the city, Danforth, and it seems a good time to say that one of the things that is different for me about Lifeline as opposed to Breakdown or the main story mode is this feeling of hopelessness. I mean, this city is burning. It is destroyed. This is very much a salvage what you can operation. Got to make some decisions here about what to take. You got to do a lot of that in Lifeline. You don't have the time to be running back and forth between your base and a location and dropping stuff off. So you got to think, what are you going to need for your playstyle? I eat a lot of snacks, so I'm going to take the snacks. But anyway, in Breakdown, things get hairy because it gets progressively harder, but you're building something that will last, a community, a home. In the main storyline, you're trying to find out what you can do and how you can save things, and maybe you can save the valley, and it's great. Here, no, not everybody will fit in my two-seater. Oh, spectacular fail. Luckily, there's a truck just up the road. There's not always a truck, so you got to be careful about what car you pick. But here, there's no hope. It's let's make the best of this and save as many people as we can, and that's really dark. That is really dark.
You were in the zone out there.
Backing up to kill more zombies. Favorite part of my day. So with these graphical updates, you get a lot of neat stuff, I think. You can see a lot more detail, not only in the distance, but also with the zombies themselves. There are things that I didn't even realize were a factor. Like, I knew that the ferals were eyeless, but I didn't see it. And you can see a lot more details of facial features on the characters, wounds on the zombies. Oh, it's really gross and disturbing now. But it's taking a game that was fairly muddy the first time around. It's not quite as extreme, but similar to the way like a Left 4 Dead was. You know, when you have these packs of faceless, featureless zombies. But it's moved from that kind of a game into something that's really crisp and beautiful, and I'm just blown away when I think that this original release was a fairly small Xbox Live Arcade game, and what it has become since then says a lot about Undead Labs and their potential. I cannot wait to see where they are in 5 or 6 years. What else they have up their sleeves. Alright, so now we're off to rescue the other Dr. Horn. In this playthrough, it goes fairly seamlessly, everything that happens with Dr. Horn. But it's one of those things that, for me at least, the AI has, I wouldn't say glitched, but not been cooperative on other playthroughs. And it's a little tough. But it's just hard sometimes. You arrive at a place in Lifeline, you might drive your car right up, you might kill a bunch of zombies on the way, but sometimes you get out of the car to save somebody and they're already jumped on, and it's already hopeless. Oh, crashed the car. I didn't like the truck anyway. Whoops. Well, luckily I was there. See, they're fighting, and not with very good weapons. Oh, there's my truck blowing up in the background.
Hey, are you here for us? We have a medevac down the road. We're looking for Dr. Julene Horn. Thomas Horn's wife? Ex-wife. Ugh, like it matters. Yes, please, get us out of here. So this is about Tom. I'm sorry, Doctor.
Well,
Your husband is dead. Ex-husband. The brass thought you might do something about his research. Something that could help us. I'm a surgeon. I didn't have time to listen to Tom's obsessive theories. He practically papered our house with...
this police car is busted.
The house isn't too far from here. I'll show you where to go.
Missing doors are a huge problem. Zombies can rip people out of the car.
Don't tell me. That's your house. I didn't invite those people.
Oh, there's a little cut there. So we got an infestation here, and this is the moment where, in many of my playthroughs, people have been eaten, and it's not so good. I'm gonna go through and kill some zombies. You know, one of the things that I've always liked about this game is that the combat is pretty simple. You know, it's a couple of buttons. But it works really well. Sometimes you miss wildly, as with my flying kick to nothing earlier. But for the most part, it works pretty well. It's smooth, it's fairly seamless, and intuitive. There's a screamer.
I think I know where I stuck his notes. How many times did I tell him to clean up?
I pay a lot of attention to control schemes in games. I like things to feel natural and intuitive. My fingers want to do certain things at certain times. games that fall outside of that, I usually don't enjoy very much. Dying Light being a recent example. The jump button, which you use more than anything else, being mapped to the damn shoulder button was awful. My hands are small. That's the least comfortable button for me to push. And it's just something I think about a lot, like how we use controllers, how we interact with games on that level. What part of that we can make our own. And this game feels pretty seamless to me.
Greyhound 1 to Black Friday. We're en route with Dr. Horn.
I like it for that reason, and, you know, 1,000 others. I shamelessly praise this game. Hashtag sorry, not sorry, but there it is. We got a siege coming. Time to get home. This is a minor thing, but I always find it really funny when somebody announces zombies in this game. Like, oh, zombies at 3 o'clock. Oh, zombies right behind us. Like, really? Because it's the apocalypse. And let me tell you, zombies are everywhere. Well, here's the Patriot painted car. The Easy Rider of cars. Right, so when the threat level hits 3, it means that the siege is imminent. Hurry your butt back to the landing zone. So where we're going right now to fight. And that's going to be the end of the video. So, oh, I love this. Oh, yeah. Got an achievement for that. I don't remember that happening in the first game, or the first version. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't remember. But it looks cool as hell, so whatever, I'll take it. There's some nice driving me. The cars, too, handle really well in this, I think. Better than in some other games. Like Grand Theft Auto, maybe. Maybe not the more recent ones. In which driving is pretty important. The controls are just, they're tight, they're responsive, it's nice. Alright, gotta get ready for the siege. Even though this is a fairly minor siege, it's important to gear up and get as much stuff as you can. Plenty of ammo, snacks, medicine. Later on, you know, you might need fire bombs and stuff, but this is another one of those things that stuff like fireworks, it doesn't help as much. You do have these explosives placed, as you can see, all around the base, and that's really nice. Your team gives you good support, but the later sieges get very difficult. I think one of the reasons, oh, it was nice. One of the reasons why this game seems, this version, this mode seems harder than the others is because the playstyle is so different. You have different focuses. See, that was a really easy siege. It was nothing. But you have a different focus. You get different things going on. It's like starting a whole new game. So that is the end of this Critical Let's Play. Check in with us soon for another one in this series. See you next time.